Hello and welcome to Runkle of the Bailey. My name is Ian Runkle. I'm a Canadian criminal defense and firearms lawyer. There's a video that's been floating around on Twitter of a Canadian traffic stop, and a bunch of people tagged me in it and basically wanted me to review this one and have a look at whether or not the police are infringing this guy's rights. Are they acting within their authority, or are they going too far? So we're going to do that, and it might be good to have a nice little glass of scotch here. I can tell you there was originally a lot of swearing in this video, but that's been edited out for YouTube reasons. So if you hear little gaps in the guy's speech, it's because he was swearing, and he was swearing quite a lot. Just to defray comments, this was also originally filmed in vertical mode, so there's only so much of it I can get on the screen. I've got as much of it as I can, but that's just what we're dealing with. All right, let's go. So as we go through this, I'm going to talk about both, the law as well as just strategic elements, like just whether or not certain things are a good idea.
Yo, what's going on here, man? Just backed in here and these fucking losers pull me over?
So note, he says, I just backed in here. Now, there was a question. I was talking with another lawyer about this. He was saying, well, maybe he's saying, I'm just backed in here. I think that based on the circumstances, we can actually determine that this was him saying, I just backed in here, and we'll see why later. Now, this doesn't actually mean a whole lot, and I'll explain why when we get to that. But they don't actually have to catch you driving in order to, conduct this kind of stop.
Got my tag up.
Now, if you missed it, that tag is it's a disability tag. It's a wheelchair tag. So this guy seems to be parked in a wheelchair spot.
Oh my God, what the do you want, man? What are you doing, man? What are you doing?
So you can already see this guy's agitated. His attitude is not great. He's honking at the police cars. This is really a good way to set the stage for for an altercation you don't really want. He's upset about being pulled over.
Look at these lights just shining them in my face, man.
Now, the lights don't seem that bright to me, but I'm not the guy sitting in the car. I'm not going to decide anything on that one way or the other.
You want to roll down your window, sir?
Nah, I can hear you. What's up?
Okay, well, Constable Lang with Calgary Police, the reason why we're stopping you is...
Now, the police usually want you to roll your window down all the way. They'll be a little annoyed if you don't, but so long as they can actually have an interaction here and can exchange documents and all of that, he's okay at this stage. And the police, they ask him to roll down his window, but they don't actually press this issue. Like, they don't say, okay, well, you need to roll it down or else we're going to do anything. Once the guy says, no, I can hear you just fine, the officer says, all right, let's keep going. So as noted, this is out of Calgary.
Because the vehicle's registered to a female and you're obviously a male, so can I see your driver's license?
Nah, man, it's not. Is the report stolen?
Can I see your driver's
No,
license?
no. You don't run things here. You work for me until I break the law, mister. So I'm going to ask you again.
Yeah, that's not a great line. Police obviously don't like that line, and it's not at all true. The officers do not actually work for you. Now, what's going on here is that when the police stop somebody, they have a somewhat limited but pretty expansive right to ask for your identification, and that is found in the Traffic Safety Act. So when we look at the Traffic Safety Act, I'll just pull it up here. We can look at the relevant section. This is section 167. On the request of a peace officer, a person driving or otherwise having the care or control of a motor vehicle or trailer shall, which is you must, produce to the peace officer for inspection the following documents as requested by the peace officer. So 1, your driver's license. 2, your subsisting certificate of registration for any vehicle or the trailer. 3, the subsisting financial responsibility card. That's your insurance. And 4, the customs permit issued in respect of a motor vehicle where a customs permit has been obtained. So, this is basically something that allows them to, when they stop you, to demand your identification, and that they can actually stop you for the purposes of demanding your identification. This has been upheld as constitutional by the Canadian Supreme Court, but it was upheld as constitutional for certain purposes. And those purposes are, one, to check that you are in fact a licensed driver. They can just say, do you have a license? Two, that you have registration, insurance, all of those things. They're allowed to check that. They're allowed to pull you over to check for vehicle fitness to make sure your car is safe to drive. And they're also allowed to check for sobriety. So the one thing that they're not really allowed to do is start embarking on random criminal investigations. And this is where there's an argument here. The argument that he'd make, and this is not the place to make the argument. You don't want to make the argument at the roadside. But the argument that he'd make is, listen, they're clearly just doing a random check to determine if a crime has been committed here. And that crime would be theft of a motor vehicle. Because there isn't actually there's no offense in Canadian, or at least not in Alberta, where this is taking place, of borrowing a car with permission. There's not an offense of being the wrong gender driving the car. Whereas the police officer here is saying, this car is registered to somebody, somebody of a different gender than you, and therefore we're wanting to stop and just check your license and registration. So I'd be arguing here that this is effectively a criminal investigation. Now, there's a way to go about doing this. First of all, if you can just comply and provide them with your details, and you'll probably be out of there in short order. Or if they go and they do find some sort of crime, you could argue that later as a charter issue. Or if you really wanted to push this as a test case, and if you are looking to push something as a test case, talk to a lawyer first. Don't be like, I watched a YouTube video and I decided I'm going to run a test case. That's a bad idea, folks. You would just say, you'd politely refuse, get arrested, get charged, and then proceed to launch the case on that basis. Again, don't do this unless you've spoken to a lawyer and you really, really know you're sure about it. But what isn't a good idea is having the fight at the roadside. And so let's keep going.
Is a car reported stolen?
No, but
Okay, well then there's no reasonable articulable suspicion.
Actually, let me explain something to you, sir. Because the vehicle's registered to a female.
It doesn't matter.
Can I speak or?
Well, you can say whatever. You can cop-explain all you want, but
You're a male, which means you need to identify yourself under the Traffic Safety Act.
No, I don't.
Arrest you.
yeah, okay, then you can arrest me because I've done nothing wrong.
Go ahead and step out of the car. Unlock the car.
What's your name and badge number? Call a sergeant. Right?
Now, this officer is a little too quick to leap to the arrest here. He's going for the... If this guy's car door had been unlocked, he would probably be getting pulled out of the car right now. This is a good reason, folks, to keep your car door locked, by the way. It's just general good practice when you're driving. I've seen people who've evaded carjackings, for instance, because they kept their car door locked. So keep your car door locked. But I don't like how quickly the officer is jumping to it. Whether or not this arrest, or an arrest if he'd made one here, would be lawful, would be debatable. Because at this stage, the individual has said that he said, like, listen, I don't intend to comply. And so at that point, if you don't actually ID yourself, the officers do have the ability to arrest in order to complete that identification. But I don't know if the court would agree that this has been established at this point. I think that this is a little too quick. That said, no arrest takes place, so this is kind of a no harm, no foul. There isn't really an attempted charter violation. The officer would have maybe violated your charter rights, isn't so much a thing.
No, I'm not locking my door. What are you talking about?
Unlock
Call a sergeant.
1439. He's refusing to open the door. We're gonna have to place him on.
Call a sergeant. I haven't done anything wrong. What are you talking about?
Unlock the door.
What crime have I committed?
Under the TSA, you need to identify yourself, and
If I'm suspected of a crime.
Nope.
No, and this guy is not he's not correct here. It's not if he's suspected of a crime. It's if he's stopped by the police can ask for his license, registration, and insurance. In Canada, the police actually have, when you're engaging in certain regulated activities, and regulated activities can be all sorts of things. Basically, anything that you need to show an ID card for. That includes driving, where you may have to show your driver's license. That includes anything where you're you're possessing a firearm, because you may have to show a firearms license in Canada. I do work on fireworks shows at times. And so if I'm working on a fireworks show handling, pyrotechnics, then I may be required to show that I've got a card that allows me to do those things. So, and there's all sorts of other regulated activities. Unfortunately, the government likes to regulate more and more and more activities. So, like, being on a boat might count. All sorts of possibilities. But driving is definitely one of them. So, at this point, he does, he likely has to produce his ID. And fighting with the police here is not going to go well.
Yes, it is. I know the law.
He doesn't, though.
You're going to break my window for me not doing anything wrong.
Unlock the door. All we want is your documents, man.
For what? My documents? Is this Nazi Germany?
Hold on,
Is this Nazi Germany?
No, this is not Nazi.
You guys are live on YouTube. Okay, you're live on YouTube, just so you know.
If you're
Perfect.
not going to produce your ID, then what's your name?
I just want to note here, the officers, I mean, as much as I've said the one guy sort of leaps to... they're actually behaving pretty well here. I mean, especially the second guy. The second guy really seems to be going, let's slow this down. Let's de-escalate this. I'm guessing that this second guy, the guy who's on screen right now with the, with the beard there is, I'm guessing he's a little bit more experienced. He's got a little bit more, more finesse on this. But when this guy's like, you're live on YouTube, they don't even blink. Like, it's just like, okay, that's a thing, I guess. We're not worried. And that's because the officers haven't stepped over the line at this stage.
I can produce my ID, but I haven't done anything wrong. That's what I'm trying to talk to you, but this guy's escalating it.
Do you understand?
And the thing is he's right about both of those things. He's, they're both, like, they're not saying that he's done anything wrong, but they are saying he's got to produce his ID. And this guy says, I can produce my ID, I just refuse to because I haven't done anything wrong. The problem is that's not the test.
What he's asking?
He's saying he's going to break my window because I've done nothing wrong, because this car is registered, he's saying, to a female. So what?
So we're allowed doing a check on documents because it's not registered.
Okay, call the female it's registered to then. I'm not going to help you with your investigation.
So we need to ID you to see who you are.
What is that? How is me? Okay, if the car is registered to a female, right? How is my license or my ID gonna tell you who I am? Like, how is that gonna help the situation?
Under the Traffic Safety Act, you have to identify.
And he actually makes a good point here. If they're investigating a car theft, knowing who he is isn't gonna do anything for that, right? I mean, unless this guy's got a record for, 60 car thefts or something. And I'm not saying he does. I don't believe he does. They actually don't find anything wrong with him being in the vehicle at this stage. But, okay. I mean, he does have a point there.
Identify yourself.
If I'm lawfully pulled over, I've already been to court for this. So you're gonna lose your badge. What's your name and badge number?
I'm not worried about it. I've already
Perfect.
given that
Okay.
information to you.
No, you didn't.
Spoiler alert. This officer's not going to lose his badge. 100%. He's not going to lose his badge. He's not going to get punishment for this. And this isn't like a still a cop versus not a cop thing. This is just, I haven't actually seen anything that and I mean, I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I am critical of police. There's some things where I might, if I was his boss, and I'm never going to be a boss of a police officer. Like, that's just not going to be, that's not in the career path. But if I was his boss, I might say, hey, on review of this, maybe slow your roll a little bit. But that's it. Like, just carry on. I'm not going to be, sending this guy in for, like, anything. Like, there wouldn't be any punishment at this stage. It would just be like, dude, slow your roll. I didn't like where you grabbed at the guy's, at his car door. But, okay.
Lagine?
Yep, you got it.
Slagine
What's
is
your
a
name?
tyrant,
What's your
thug.
name?
My name, I'll give you my first name.
Sure.
Okay. What? Look at him put on his gloves. I haven't done anything
What's-
wrong. This
what's
is
your-
how you guys treat the public?
I'm
I've
giving
done nothing wrong.
I'm giving you another chance here. but I
Another
need your
chance he's
name.
putting on his gloves to intimidate me. Look at this.
What's your name?
I mean, partially. I don't think that this officer really thought that it was going to be an intimidating gesture to put on his gloves, but he is thinking that, that officer on the left is thinking that the way this interaction ends is with a broken car window and somebody getting dragged out. Now, we already know that this guy's got a disabled placard, so I would be thinking, if I was him, about the optics of it, because more and more police activity makes the news, and if you're going to drag a disabled guy out of his window, maybe think about how that might look. And don't do it unless you need to. There's times when you might need to. I don't think they're there yet.
My name is Dwight.
Dwight, D-W-I-G-H-T.
Yeah.
What's your last name, Dwight?
Sir, I'm asking, why are you doing this to me? I haven't committed a crime.
We've explained it multiple
So you
times.
guys are gonna, okay, under duress, I'm gonna give you my last name under duress because he's threatening me, putting on gloves. Yes, he is, putting on gloves, threatening me, telling me he's gonna break my window. This cupcake right here said he's gonna break my window.
So, what's your last name?
Domino.
Spell it for me, please.
Just like dominoes.
Okay. Domino. What's your date of birth, man?
But I don't understand why you're putting me in the system. I haven't done anything wrong.
Are you 30, roughly?
So what's happened here is they've run his name, and it almost certainly came back with a match, right? They're just trying to confirm that they're looking at the right guy. And when the officer is asking, "Are you about 30?" it's because he's actually looking at a date of birth. Now, why the police officers ask these questions is that sometimes people give them fake names, and people sometimes will give them the name of, like, their brother, a coworker, somebody else. And so the police may ask a bunch of other questions just to confirm that that's actually you. Because if you've lied to them and you've given them a fake name, the next thing that happens is you do get pulled out of the car and you get charged with obstruction, possibly impersonation, all sorts of things. So when the guy's unable or unwilling to give a birth date, the officers are a little skeptical here.
Yeah, but I haven't done anything wrong, so why are you putting me in the system?
I've already explained it.
Shut up, you didn't explain nothing. You said you're gonna break my window because the vehicle is registered to a woman.
To identify yourself under the Traffic Safety Act.
Yeah, if I'm lawfully pulled over, I understand that.
Pulled over.
I'm not pulled over, I'm parked. My car is off, I am parked.
Right there.
You can be pulled over even though you're parked. And the police like I said, I'd come back to it as to why I think that they saw him moving the car. And the police officer said, "We ran your plates. We see that it's registered to a woman." He's backed into this stall. Now, this is in Alberta, where you only get a rear plate. Cars in Alberta only have a rear plate. So, assuming that he's not running out of province plates, like if he's if this is a British Columbia vehicle or something, then when he's backed into the stall, they wouldn't be able to see his plate. The only way they would have seen it is noting it while his car was in motion. So that's why I said that it's almost certain that he said, "I just backed into this spot." I'm guessing the police ran that while he was in motion. And the police run plates just kind of randomly, right? They drive around, they run plates. It's how they often find stolen cars. They'll just say, "Oh yeah, that blue Jeep or whatever. We'll just run its plates, and oh look, it's coming up stolen. Now we got some policing to do."
I am parked. I have dash cam in the front and the back of my car. I have dash cam, you loser. You're a tyrant. You're at your job. That's why you'll never have stripes. Yeah, okay, cupcake.
Actually, that's not how stripes work.
Okay, cupcake. Whatever you want to say. You're not for the people. You're for profit. You're a loser. Look at you. You're a straight up loser.
Now, there's a lot of swearing that's getting cut out of this, which actually makes Mr. Domino here seem like a more pleasant guy, and he doesn't seem all that pleasant here. Now, he is really trying to get a rise out of this officer, and I've seen a lot of videos where people berate an officer in this fashion that end with the officer, smashing a window, dragging the guy out. This guy is just kind of sitting there and smiling, which is actually the kind of, like, I criticized him before for being a bit of a hothead and going directly to the arrest. Right now, he's taking insults and just shrugging it off. And that is the temperament that I expect and that we all want to see out of police officers. Because sometimes they do deal with people who might be belligerent, but not criminals, or belligerent, but not breaking the law. Now, Mr. Domino, at this point, has committed several traffic safety offenses that he could be ticketed for. Specifically, we've got issues of failing to produce his driver's license, failing to produce his insurance. All of those add up. And so we'll see, like, do these officers hammer him with all the things that they could do? But right now, we just got this officer, and I mean, sure, he looks a little smug. Okay. Smug I got no problem with. He just isn't looking a little punchy, and punchy is where I'd have a problem here. Because he wouldn't be entitled to punch, Mr. Domino, because Mr. Domino, as much as he's being a jerk, hasn't actually done anything to get punched. So far so good.
Look at that. Tyrant comes over here and tries to bully me into my ID because he thinks he's in Nazi Germany. Look at this racist cop.
Not Nazi Germany, here in Canada.
Yeah, look at this racist cop, eh? Shut up, you racist. You're a racist. Profiling me. I'm gonna watch the complaint I make on you, bro. Don't worry about it. Okay, it is fine.
Now, he's calling him a racist. I'm guessing from the sort of twang, the accent, that this may be an indigenous individual. I don't know. But he's throwing all the insults he can, and the officer is just kind of casually brushing it off.
Perfect. Ask Andrew A. Smith what happened to him with me for no reason. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you and that loser. So now that I know that you know him, this is conspiring with him, eh? To fuck with me. Perfect. Look at this loser. He just admitted that he's pulling me over because he knows Andrew A. Smith. So this is retaliation stop.
I don't think a court would ever agree that that was, correct. I mean, maybe if this guy was charged, if Mr. Domino was charged, I might be in the position as a defense lawyer, if I was representing him, of having to argue that it was a retaliatory action or whatever. I don't think I'd win, but sometimes you got to make the argument. I don't think it's going to fly.
Wow, I can't wait till the judge sees this.
Now he says, wow, I can't wait till the judge sees this. So let's say the goal is you want to challenge the officer's behavior. Judges are people too. And judges will make determinations like, do they think you're a jerk? And in this case, I think a judge would be really inclined to think that Mr. Domino is behaving like a jerk here. And would probably bend over to find that the officers had behaved properly. I think a judge would be very disinclined to punish the officers for their behavior, even if a violation, and I note, there could be violations here, however sort of technical. I don't think, judges, because they're people, often tend to fall into the sort of old Western movie thinking of like, which person here is wearing the white hat and which person is wearing the black hat? Who's the hero? Who's the villain? Mr. Domino is acting like the villain. It's not how you want to be. I absolutely, please, if you actually know your rights and you are standing up for your rights, absolutely. But make sure you know them and make sure you do it politely, as well as, you can be firm about standing up for your rights, but picking this kind of screaming match is never going to endear a judge to you.
Yeah, what you gonna do?
Identify yourself or not?
I already did to your other officer. I'm not talking to you. I want a sergeant here.
Sergeants are busy, sorry.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. Then you can't unlawfully pull me over. You didn't pull me over. I'm parked.
You don't have a right to a sergeant.
You're a loser.
Lawful traffic stop.
Lawful traffic stop. There is no lawful traffic stop. What are you talking about?
He gave us his name, not even a date of birth.
I gave him my name. Look at this guy lie to escalate the situation.
And
Look
what
at
the
this
officer said
cupcake.
is he
Andre
gave his
Smith
name, but
Jr.
not his date of
Look at
birth.
this cupcake. Can't even read his badge. SLANGEN.
Yep.
Tyrant. Thug. Out here. Thugging. Mean bugging people for no reason. What a thug.
Hey, that kind of rhymed.
What a thug. Puts on his gloves. Yo, take off that badge and see what it do, man. Take off that badge. You think you're so tough. Now put those gloves on.
I can't hear you over there.
Yeah, see what you do when you take off that badge. Look at this punk. I have a license. This guy pulled me over unlawfully. What are you talking about?
Failing to produce insurance, identification.
I want a sergeant, and I'll produce all of that.
Sergeants are busy, sir.
No, you can't unlawfully pull me over for no reason and then tell me you're going to give me tickets when I'm complying with everything that you said.
You're not.
They haven't actually said that they were going to give him a ticket yet. I didn't hear that.
Not actually.
I have not done anything wrong. You want I give you my ID, no problem. But this guy, I'm not dealing with him. He's a tyrant. He's aggressive.
So pass me your ID.
Okay, can you just calmly? Why are you pulling me over, sir? I'm not even pulled over. I'm parked in a parking stall. I'm not absolutely doing nothing wrong.
Okay.
And he's putting on his gloves, telling me he's going to break my window and threatening to arrest me when I've absolutely done nothing wrong. So how is that even fair? Is that your kids are going to see this, and that's the kind of policing you want them to see you doing? You're proud of that?
Are you asking me a question? Or
Yes, sir. I'm asking you a question. When someone's absolutely doing nothing wrong, sitting.
Actually, I mean, if I was this officer, this is exactly the sort of policing. Like, this guy has been de-escalating the conflict at every stage. He's been behaving reasonably. I can't find a single thing to fault him on at this point. So when they're like, do you want your kids to see that? It's like, kinda, yeah. This is me being good at my job. Again, there's some dispute as to whether or not the whole reason why they're stopping him is lawful. That is something that could be argued in court, and I can tell you, I don't know how it would end up landing on this one. I'd be down to make the argument about the initial stop. But all the rest of this really, and everything that Mr. Domino has done since the initial stop is something that really diminishes his argument here.
In their car, and then you guys pull up like this,
So we issued,
putting on gloves and threatening
So
people.
we issued the traffic stop.
No, there was no. I'm parked.
I know, but this is a.
He seems to think it's not a traffic stop because he parked before they stopped him. It's a traffic stop. Like, he's been stopped. They're allowed to stop you even though you're parked.
Traffic stop. You're in the vehicle.
But I'm parked. My car's off.
Can you hear me out?
Yes, sir.
So we ran the plate, and it came back as the registered owner, as a female registered owner.
Okay, but it's not reported
So
stolen.
It's up to us.
My charter protects me against reasonable searches and seizures.
I'm trying to help you understand here. Okay.
It protects against unreasonable search and seizure.
So under the TSA, we're supposed to be checking documents to make sure that you have a valid driver's license, registration, and insurance. And we can contact the RO after all of that. But under the TSA, you need to identify yourself.
Okay, also in the Charter of Rights, it tells me that I am protected under the Charter against discrimination, unlawful
So
searches and seizures.
You realize
I
you can be
understand.
arrested for
For the Police
providing
Act.
your driver's license.
No,
And that is
I
correct.
gave
He
you my
can
name
be.
and stuff. Can I reach Can I reach for it? Under duress. Yeah, that's a secondary charge. That's a secondary charge, stupid.
Are you going to pass me your ID like you said?
Am I allowed to reach for it?
Yeah, reach for it, man.
You can't, but I'm just letting you know, you can't. You guys are threatening with arrest, threatening to break my window, and threaten bodily harm on me. So under duress, I'm going to provide it, but I'm going. What's your name, badge, just for the record, so I can go file a complaint after, please.
Constable Jans 5918.
Constable Jans, J
5918.
5918.
J-A-N-S.
And what's the guy that threatened me?
And you see he's identifying himself. He's saying that's not a problem. The other thing, and this is really more of a Canadian policing thing, you have not seen an officer touch iron yet. This guy is being aggressive. He's being hostile. There's every reason to think that this guy might be, in some ways, potentially a threat. Certainly the officers have got to be thinking, like, what happens, if this guy decides to reach for something or whatever else. But nobody's drawn a gun. Nobody's drawn a taser. Nobody's touched a weapon at this stage. So that And that's good because it tends to keep things a little quieter.
Pass me your ID and we'll chat.
No. You work for me until I break the law. You got it backwards. You guys are corrupt.
So pass me
This is why I have no respect for you guys. You piece of man.
Listen, Dwight.
Don't tell me to listen.
Because
I'm reaching in my pocket. Do not shoot me. I'm reaching in my pocket.
No one's reaching for anything here.
He's
I'm
not.
reaching in my pocket. I need to get my ID.
Grab your ID. Thank you, Dwight.
All right, so he's handed over his driver's license.
Yeah, look at smile all you want to. Smile. Look at this guy. He thinks he's so tough, man.
Dwight, look at me.
I'm not looking. I don't tell me where to look. I'm looking at this guy. You're looking in my car.
Can you pass me the registration insurance, please, Dwight?
Yeah, I can.
Now, the officer is allowed to look in your car from outside your vehicle. That's not going to be improper. He can look at anything that's in plain view. They can't open a bag or anything like that, or tell you to open a bag. That would be a search. But the officer can certainly look through the window. And if he were to, for instance, see a shotgun in the back seat, that would change the interaction in a big way. So officers will quite frequently look through your car windows for officer safety reasons, all sorts of other things, right? They're going to see if there's anything that leaps out.
Thank you very much.
Look at this guy. You guys are just mean mugging right now. Thugs, man.
You're also part.
Look, my daughter. They're. That's my daughter. You fucking guys are losers. Look at the losers.
Oh, we missed a
Police,
bleep.
man.
You focus and pass.
Police, man. The racist pieces of man. Look at that. Got my daughter hemmed up now. Losers,
I
man.
appreciate you grabbing your documents there, Dwight.
Losers, man. Surrounding my car.
That I
Let me
appreciate you
break my
doing this is
window.
he's got good people management skills. He's dealing with a very difficult individual.
Talking about. Look at this piece of. Look at this thug, man. Look at this piece of.
They've been dealing with a very difficult individual, a very confrontational individual who clearly wants a confrontation that's bigger than they've given him at this point. And so far, that one officer managed to get the guy's driver's license out of him, which is what they wanted from the beginning. So the officers, through talking him through this, have managed to get everything they wanted. And in doing so, they're actually probably avoiding the need to lay charges on this guy. Mr. Domino is probably not getting charged as a result of the police officers managing to get this information out of him.
Look at this garbage. What do you need?
I need the registration, yeah. And the insurance to the vehicle, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so now that you guys are trying to look for a warrant on me and I don't have one, are you going to let me go? Or are you guys going to try to hand me up and give me some tickets for no reason?
Just sit tight, all right, man?
Yo, just sit tight, man. You guys are crooked cops, man.
Also parked in a handicap zone.
Yeah, look like a handicap sticker, stupid. Okay. It is already up then. What are you talking about?
My apologies, I never saw that.
Okay. So then you still don't have a reason.
So because they managed to get this guy's license and registration and insurance out of him, now those tickets that they could have charged him with are probably not chargeable. They've done him a favor. The officer was saying, "You're also parked in a handicapped spot," and he says, "I've got a permit." Okay, cool. That could have been handled really easily and without any of the shouting and whatever. But the officers just handling it really calmly, really props to these officers.
You guys are man.
And you'll notice
If you
there's
look at
more
these
cops
garbage
here.
laughing, it's funny that he's violating my charter right now, guys. He thinks it's funny that he's violating my charter. Look at this loser, man. He thinks it's funny. Don't answer them, Neff. Don't talk to these losers. Garbage.
This guy wants a fight. He wants it so bad, and he's just not getting it. The officers are kind of laughing him off in order to defray whatever tension here. This guy's really upset that he's not getting the fight he's spoiling for. Don't do this, guys.
Look at this, trying to my daughter. Don't talk to my kid, you loser. Don't talk to my kid. You guys are losers. This is why I don't respect police. You guys are losers. What did I do? Nothing. But what did I do? Okay, fine. I'll start over. What did I do?
He says, you're allowed your own opinion. He's just, just not having it.
Why do I have police surrounding me, putting lights in my face? This guy's threatening because the car's registered to a female? There's no crime. It's not reported stolen. There's nothing absolutely wrong with it being registered to a female. You're completely wrong. It doesn't matter. I can identify as a female. Okay, so now you're being a bigot?
Does it say that on your identification?
Yeah, it might just say that on my identification.
Spoiler alert, it doesn't say that on his identification. And the thing is, the whole female versus not, that was a mistake by the officers. Because what they could have just said, and what they should have just said, like if I'm putting myself into the chief of police seat, and I'm going to talk to these officers about what they did, did right or did wrong here. I would have told them, like, listen, the reason why you stopped this guy is just, we have a right under the Traffic Safety Act to check your license, registration, and insurance. And that's what the purpose of the stop is. That would have really, that clears things up, because the little bit where I'm saying, as a defense lawyer, I can argue this, goes away at that point.
Loser, man. So embarrass me in my own community all the time, man. I didn't do nothing, no criminal history. I didn't do nothing wrong. I'm parked waiting for my kid, and they threatened to break my window.
I appreciate your cooperation.
You threatened to break my window, put your gloves on, thug, like I did something wrong. I'm not out here thugging. I work every day not to be treated by you losers like this.
And I can say, I've been the subject of a traffic stop just to sort of see what was going on. I was done the traffic stop in, like, this is a 15-minute video that I'm reviewing. It's going to be a lot longer because I'm commenting on the law here. I'm explaining things as we go. But I was done in like 2 minutes. This guy is spoiling for a fight, and it's resulting in him being stuck there for 15 minutes and extra units being called. This is becoming a big production. And the reason why is because of his behavior here.
Look how you're acting.
You pulled me over for no reason, put lights in my face.
I talked to you politely the entire time.
You, man.
He did
Good
talk
bad
to him
cop. You
politely.
suck a too, man. I didn't. This is bad policing. Racist pieces of garbage, man. I absolutely did nothing wrong, but wait for my daughter to get here and then get harassed by the police.
You ready for me to talk here? Thank you for your cooperation. Thank you for your documents. Everything checks out.
No, man. You didn't have reasonable cause for anything.
Here's your registration, your insurance.
Can I please have my ID back? Because last time they didn't give it back to me.
Enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate the time and our...
Okay, you're dismissed now. Get the out of here. Get back to work, loser.
See, even as he's getting what he wants, he's still spoiling for a fight. And the officers aren't giving it to him. This is what I want to see out of police. Good job. I don't normally say this. I hate to say it. It's one of those things that does not flow easily from the mouth of a criminal defense lawyer. Good job, officers. Cheers. If there weren't rules against it, I would offer to buy you guys a beer. I mean, sadly, I think that there's rules that prevent me from... If not, look me up. I'll buy you a beer. Seriously.
Yo, you put dismissed. Get back to work. Get back to work. Yo, boy, get back to work, man. Open it, baby. Open it.
Now you see he does the same yelling with his daughter. And you see she's kind of reluctant. She doesn't want to get in this car right now. Because right now we've seen a whole bunch of people who are sitting there watching this production. She's going, I don't want any part of this. But nope. I mean, she's not going to walk home though.
Open it. Ask him if he has a bottle opener. Yo, ask this little piggy if he has a bottle opener. You have a bottle opener, buddy?
I do, yeah. Do you want it?
Yeah, please.
Well, look.
Actually, no, it's warm right now. I don't want it.
What's up? You don't want it?
No.
Well, I'll open it for you.
No, that's okay, Piggy.
Sure?
Yeah, no problem, Piggy. What's
He says, ask if he's got a bottle opener, and the cop's like, yeah, I'll help you out, sure. And now he's got a bottle that says Coors on it. Now, I don't know. Some people who were looking at that and know more a little bit about Coors. Coors is not my beer brand, by the by. Said that this is probably a de-alcoholized Coors. But he's still trying to bait the cop. Like, he is really trying to pick a fight, and he's trying to get his daughter involved in this. I'm glad we can't see her face in any of this. Like, we don't know who she, so, but he's really, like, just let it go. Don't try to pick a fight. And if he was actually playing a game with de-alcoholized beer in order to try to bait the cops here, this is a man on a mission. Like, this is a man who really is just wanting a fight, and they won't give it to him. He just can't get the fight he's trying to get here. And that's commendable from these officers.
Your name and badge number just so I can make a report that you were a witness to this here.
Yeah, of course. It's Constable Humphrey.
Constable Humphrey.
Do you want me to spell it for you?
Yes, please.
H-U-M.
Yes, please.
F-R.
Yep.
E-Y.
Yep.
Do you want my badge number?
Yes, please.
It's 5207.
5207?
That's what I said.
Okay, and why are you guys out here mean mugging and thugging on people that ain't committing crimes? Is all the crime in Calgary solved that you guys can't go mess with a criminal?
I guess so.
You guess so?
Yeah.
I'm glad you have a personality when you
That's the best answer I've ever heard a police officer give to that. Yeah, I guess so. We're good. Thanks. I mean, it's clearly not a legitimate, honest question here.
violate my charter, so you guys have violated my charter today.
How did I violate your charter?
You and your gang members did, and I will be filing a complaint. Where's your precinct, please, that I can go to?
How did I violate your charter?
You were a witness. You were a witness
Yeah.
to my charter. Me unreasonable searches and seizures, threatening to break my window, threatening bodily harm on me, for absolutely no reason. I absolutely did nothing wrong.
Perfect. Okay, no, that
Which
helps me
detachment? Which
that-
detachment?
That helps me understand.
Which detachment can I
illegal
go
search
to?
and seizure is what you said? So that's
No, that's part of it. That's part of it. I'm allowed to be secure. Yes, yes.
Is
And
that
number
section?
eight. Number 8, I can just be secure
Okay.
in my persons and on my property and papers.
Okay.
You guys violated that today, and
He's mixing that up a little bit with the U.S. U.S. Bill of Rights.
I'm wondering which precinct are you guys out of, so I can go down and file the proper complaint.
Calgary Police Service, reach out to the professional standards section.
Okay.
If you go on the Calgary Police Service,
So you're not getting from which detachment you're from? Are you from District 4, District 2?
There's no such thing as a detachment in Calgary. But you
Just
can
District 4? There's District 2? What are you talking about?
reach out to the Calgary Police Service
Wow, look at
professional
it.
standards section. You can go on their website. They have a
Oh,
complaints
man.
button. You click the complaints.
Yo, can you
fill out
pigs
the
get
form.
out of the way so I can leave?
I use this tactic too, because sometimes you'll get people who are upset with you as a lawyer, and usually it's somebody who's like, a witness that you have to cross-examine or something like that, and they're like, I'm gonna file a complaint. It's like, okay, cool. Let me give you the instructions. Here's how you file the complaint. Go ahead. And both that covers you ethically, because they can't say, oh, you were trying to prevent the complaint or anything. You were actually trying to encourage, like, say, hey, here's how you do it. And it also really takes the wind out of people's sails. Officer Humphrey here is just like, he's just taking, he's taking this guy and reducing his shouty rant to like, no, here's where you go. Here's how you file the complaint. I got no problem with that. Let's help out.
And then that's how you fill out a complaint.
Perfect. I will be doing that. Thank you. Can you tell your soldiers, your little
I'm not going to close the door on you. You can close it yourself just so I don't hit you, okay?
yo thugs, pigs, move away, please. Get out of the way, pigs.
And we're going to finish off. I don't know if you could hear that. The last sound we hear in that video is the sound of his girl, whose face I'm going to have to blur out later, giving a real heavy sigh. Just... She doesn't want that. She did not want that at all, right? I'm guessing this guy's got some outstanding issues, some more extensive stuff. He really, really wanted to fight with these police officers, and that's it. That's about it. So let's talk a little bit more about this guy, because he it doesn't stop here. This is an article that is out of the Chestermere Anchor, and I'm just going to pull it up here. It says, Chestermere man charged after altercation with peace officer. So, and they say, incident stems from multiple confrontations involving filming and perceived intimidation on the highway. So they note that he had a number of different interactions. So first, he was filming police who were involved in, just doing their job, and then started flipping them the bird, which I did another video about. And the police did not arrest him for flipping him the bird. Good for them. They shouldn't arrest him for that because that's actually an expression of his rights. So they didn't arrest him for that. Then later, police are conducting a different traffic stop with an entirely different person, and he rolls up real close and starts filming them. Later, during another traffic stop, he shows up and starts filming them and shouting at them and so forth. And later, he ends up getting getting into some issues and ultimately gets charged with obstruction of a peace officer and some intimidation charges. So when I said that this guy seems to have like a grudge going on and seems to be really pursuing something, yeah. And the police did not give it to him during this interaction, right? He didn't get the fight he wanted. He didn't get that out of this interaction. But he just wasn't going to stop. He pursued the police officers and just insists on making sure that he gets charged. So he gets charged. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what the issue is on this one. As I said, there is an arguable issue about the stop. I think it's a weak arguable issue, but there's an arguable issue about the stop. I wouldn't want this to be the test case for this, because if I want a test case, I want somebody who's behaving well and not behaving... I don't even know how to describe this, right? This guy was really behaving like a person who just was spoiling for a fight. And that's not what you want out of a test case. It just isn't. You want somebody that the court is going to be inclined to find for and inclined to say, this is the reasonable person in this interaction. Whereas in this police interaction, this guy's behavior makes the police look really good. Even if that initial stop was a violation of his rights, his behavior makes the police look so good by comparison that there is no way a court is going to find in his favor here. I mean, or a very slim chance. You can't really ever say no way in the legal sphere, but so a lot of people have commented that in the US he'd be within his rights, and that may be the case. Here in Alberta, the whole thing of I'm not going to provide you my driver's license if you are driving a car is not going to fly. There are times when you can say I'm not going to provide you with my driver's license. If he had been walking down the street on foot, hadn't been in a car or in a wheelchair, I guess. I wasn't trying to sort of cast aspersions there, but you're just traveling down the street. You're not in a car. You're not carrying a firearm, you're not carrying fireworks, you're not handling explosives, you're not operating a boat, any of the things that are regulated activities. And the police come up and say, hey, we just want to see your driver's license, or we just want to see your ID. You can say no. But once you start engaging in those regulated activities, they're probably going to be able to just ask you for the permit that allows you to do those things, and then they've got your name and identification and all of that. So, yep, on balance, there's an argument that they may have violated his rights. I think it's a weak argument, but there's no way this guy's going to get a remedy out of this, I don't think. If he's saying, I want to sue because they violated my rights, I think a court would say, listen, you would have been out and gone if you'd behaved reasonably here. You wanted the fight. We award you no money. Even if they violated this guy's rights, they'd be like, okay, maybe you get $1 just as like nominal costs or nominal awards. And I don't think he'd even get that. He was talking about how he's going to complain and take these officers' jobs. I can guarantee that these officers are still officers unless they've like retired or found a better job or anything like that. So anyway, that's my review. At the end of the day, the officers conducted themselves pretty well here. I've seen a lot worse stops. Immensely. And I'm going to give these officers points. I've had clients who've managed to provoke officers to the point where the officers engaged in violence. This guy was trying his hardest, and these officers just didn't blink. So yeah, if it's allowed, any one of you officers, look me up. I will buy you a beer if it's allowed. If it's not allowed, well, I'm just going to raise a glass, finish my scotch, and say, thanks for not punching this guy. I know he probably made you want to, but I really appreciate it when officers can restrain that. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this to be interesting and educational. I also want to thank my Patreon supporters, and there's a link to the Patreon below. At the $50 level, Lembas for the Elf, CCFR, Canada's National Firearms Association, and the Canadian Shooting Sports Association. And then at the $20 level, Lindsay Metcalf, Larry Kalniak, Kyle Fox, Drunk All of the Baileys, nice, Cameron Johnson, Andrew Elsich, Vicky, and Dorky Dane. Thank you as well to the $10 supporters who will be in the crawl immediately following. Thank you for watching. Hope this has armed you with knowledge. See you next time.